All right, good morning, guys. I hope you're doing well this morning. It is Monday, October 19th. And so this video is for today. If you attend our virtual meetup, you do not have to watch this video unless you are trying to remember what we discussed during our virtual meetup. Okay, so we're going to start off with this number talk. I want you to go ahead and pause the video and try to solve the equation below. We did this last week, okay, so this shouldn't be new, but I want you to go ahead and try to solve that. Okay, so now we're going to do it together. Okay, so the method that we talked about last week, so the strategy that we used, is we broke apart the whole number and the fraction. Okay, so we broke it off into 3 2/3. Okay, and then we multiplied both 3 2/3 by our fraction. Okay, so we have 3 times 3/9 and 2/3 times 3/9. Okay, so we'll set up our first equation. 3 times 3/9. We know that we need to turn 3 into a fraction, okay, in order to solve. Okay, to turn any whole number into a fraction, we need to put it over 1. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and solve. 3 times 3 equals 9, and 1 times 9 equals 9. Okay, so this is what we call an improper fraction because the numerator is bigger or equal to the denominator. Okay, so we would ask ourselves, how many times can I put 9 into 9? So 9 divided by 9 equals 1. Okay, I can put this 9 into 9 one time. Okay, so 9/9 equals 1. Okay, so that's our first equation. Our second is 2/3 times 3/9 equals. Okay, since they're both fractions, we can go ahead and multiply across the top. 2 times 3 equals 6. 3 times 9 equals 27. Okay? All right, now I'm on my very last step. So here's step 3. We've already solved our two equations. Since we split it up in the beginning, we need to put it back together. Okay? All we did was split it up to make it easier for us to multiply. Okay, so now we're going to put it back together. So we've got 1 plus 6/27. Okay, so we add our whole numbers to whole numbers and fractions to fractions. So since we don't have any other whole numbers, we have 1. We don't have any other fractions. We have 6/27. Okay, so that's our answer. So this was the first strategy that we learned together last week. We are going to go ahead and talk about another strategy today. So maybe you had another strategy for solving this. Go ahead and see if this strategy was the same one that you used or maybe even thought of. Okay, so I'm just going to, we got 3 2/3. Okay, so now we're going to learn a different strategy today, okay? And this is going to help us because sometimes it's not perfect. And you might be saying, Ms. Stokes, what do you mean by it's not perfect? Well, sometimes we're going to end up with two fractions. So I told you in that last step, we add the whole numbers together and we add the fractions together. Well, sometimes you might end up with this fraction and this fraction. Okay, well, we can't add these together because our denominators are different. When we add fractions, our denominators have to be the same. So we'll say have to be the same, okay, before we can add them. Okay, and this is why. Okay, so let's say we have 6/9 and 5/9. When we add these, we add 6 plus 5, which is 11. And we don't add the denominator. It stays the same. Okay? 11/9. So that's why they have to be the same when we add. Okay? So it's not always going to be perfect, and we might have different denominators for our fractions. So one way to avoid that is to start by making our mixed number an improper fraction. Okay? So we're going to make our mixed number an improper fraction.